Cable television being what it is today, there are literally dozens of informative and entertaining channels available to subscribers. Hello, I'm John Chapman, Director of Local Programming for Space Cable. I'm proud to say that our local channels have contributed to that variety of programming and entertainment with community-oriented television since our first cable system in Strongsville had only 2,000 subscribers. Well, there's an interesting sidelight to locally produced programs that many of our adult subscribers are not aware of, yet their school-age children are. I'm referring to the institutional cable network built for the city of Strongsville and operated by the Strongsville City Schools. An institutional loop is a cable system within a cable system, programmed for the exclusive use of the institutions connected to it and not for the home cable viewer. The typical institutional loop interconnects the municipal buildings and the school buildings within a city to a central location. Well, Space Cable's institutional loop goes beyond that to provide a two-way interconnect feature between that central location and any other location on the loop. And through a series of yearly grants, we have even purchased much of the equipment that the Strongsville schools use to produce and distribute their own local programs on cable TV. Space Cable also provides two channels, including the one you see here, on the subscriber network so that school programs of interest to the general public can be cablecast. More on that later. Well, with all that background, now it's time to meet the man behind the scenes of the Strongsville Institutional Loop. This is the School District Coordinator for Audiovisual and Television, John Bedford. Let's join him now in his control room in the Board of Education building, that central location in the institutional loop that I referred to earlier. We'll communicate live using the unique two-way interconnect feature that Space Cable has built into this institutional loop. John, can you describe for us the physical attributes of the institutional loop here in Strongsville?
Sure, John. Our cable system that the Strongsville City Schools uses is approximately 22 miles of cable. That's a totally separate cable system from the subscriber cable network. It interconnects 11 school buildings, including our one parochial school, and the public service buildings such as City Hall, Fire Department, Police Station, and so on. It has 54 channels that we have the capability of using. We are currently only scratching the surface by using 8 of those. We also use channel 15 and channel 16 on the subscriber system that we can transmit information from the board building out to the home of the subscriber. This entire network was put together by Space Cable. They put the amplifiers and the equipment on the poles, and the system cost in excess of $125,000. It's been a really good system and has been well maintained by Space Cable.
Okay, John, well, basically, I guess the next question, what kinds of programming can you make available through this comprehensive system?
Well, John, we receive all kinds of material from WVIZ and NASA that we use in the classroom situation. These materials come in and then we make them available for the teachers for playback through the cable. As I mentioned before, we have about 8 channels to do that. We also advertise to the community through our character generators what programs and activities will be going on during the day so that the parents and the people at home can come in or be aware that their children will be involved in these programs. And we also do our own local production. We just got done doing the National Junior Honor Society inductions. We'll be doing commencement. We'll be doing a lot of other local programming that we will then play out to the community.
Sounds fascinating. Now, we are communicating live using a two-way interconnect that we have set up between your control room and our TV studio. How do you make use of this two-way transmission capability in actual school situations?
Well, John, one of the ways that we do this is each year we have commencement from our high school gymnasium, which goes out live to the community. That's done by using the two-way network that's built into the system. We take cameras and modulators up to the high school. We then transmit backwards through the cable to the board building, and then from the board building over to your head end, and that is one primary use of the two-way network. We also use it for in-service and for also we'll have classrooms do interaction. Like the 5th and 6th graders of one building will have a debate with the 5th and 6th graders of another building. And so having this two-way capability allows us, one, a larger attendance to our commencement ceremony, and two, we also can have buildings interact without transporting those students from one building to another.
Well, John, given the amount of TV equipment that you have access to, including a 3-camera mobile studio, editing equipment, character generators, and more, it would seem that the schools didn't just get into this system overnight. What kind of history does the school system have for using TV in the classroom?
Well, John, we've been very fortunate to receive a lot of federal grants, a lot of outside funding, and a lot of nice donations throughout the years. Before the City Council and the Mayor had even talked about having cable in the city, the Strongsville City School District realized that we needed to get our buildings cabled, we needed to have up-to-date videotape equipment, and so approximately 5 years ago we started wiring our buildings for cable television, making it available for the point when cable was to come into the city. This could all be interfaced, and then we could transmit from the board building to the various buildings. We had a portable color studio system, we had modulators, and everything was going real well, but we had no way of interconnecting between the buildings, and that's where the cable system has really helped out.
Okay. You've expanded your programming efforts to include GED programs in the evening. Can you explain how this came about and what does GED stand for?
Okay, well, John, I'll first explain that the GED stands for General Educational Development. And what has happened is that the Assistant Superintendent and I have written a grant to the Cleveland Foundation. After about a year, we were awarded funding for this grant, and that was to develop courses to teach the General Educational Development class through television. This allows a person who has not gotten their high school diploma to take these courses in their home by watching TV and refresh their memory and make their skills available so that they can go to the test centers, take the test, and get a high school equivalency diploma from the state of Ohio. Now, it's been working out real well. We are currently in our second session, and we hope to expand on this program as time goes on.
Now, you have indicated that you've completed one session as of this date, and a number of people have been able to receive their high school diploma because of the programming that you made available over cable television. Isn't that right?
That's correct.
Okay. I think that's kind of fascinating. It seems as if cable TV has moved beyond just providing entertainment and movies to actually providing a service and developing people some additional potential that they didn't have before. I think that's a real service, and I'm glad that you folks were able to get the grant so that things like that can actually happen. Well, what plans do you have for this unique cable system within a cable system for the coming years?
Well, John, you know, we've only just scratched the surface as far as the capabilities of cable TV and public schools. We're currently operating 8 channels within the classrooms, and we have our 2 dedicated channels out to the community. Because of the good working relationship between Space Cable and the city and the public schools, we're going to even go farther. We'll be expanding with more channels just because of the demand of this type of network has increased. We'll be looking into putting security systems, our phone system through our cable network, using digital information from computers through our cable system, and it's just a unbelievable amount of information that can be transmitted through a single coaxial cable. As I said, we've only scratched the surface, and we plan to just keep looking into other ways that we can better utilize the material that we currently have and reduce costs and just make this a real lighthouse district for the state and the country.
Sounds fantastic. John, in summary, would you agree that in order to staff and equip a successful institutional loop such as the one the Strongsville City Schools has, It requires a financial as well as an educational commitment from the school system administration?
That's right, John. I think it's safe to say that from the superintendent, the Board of Education, they are behind this type of department and programming 100%. They see that we can provide a lot of good instructional material for the classroom teacher to use in the classroom at a very reasonable price versus transporting it through some type of delivery service or having videotape equipment in all the buildings and just a number of ways. And the idea of expanding into other areas besides instructional, when we get into business as far as security and phone systems and so on, it's just a good way for their money to be spent, and we constantly prove to them that this money is being spent the best way possible.
John, thanks for taking the time to talk with us today about this unique and valuable educational tool, and keep up the good work.
Thank you, John.
At home, I don't have access to the school's channels on the institutional loop, but I do have the satisfaction of knowing that the children in the Strongsville City Schools are receiving enhanced educational opportunities using a system that Space Cable helped design, build, equip, and maintain. It's an important educational tool in the classroom as well as an excellent public relations tool for the schools and for the cable system. What better way is there for a school system to reach the parents of the school children and the voters than on cable TV? The institutional loop will continue to grow in Strongsville to serve the schools and the community even more effectively in the years to come. So this is one aspect of cable TV that is reserved for the schools, private institutional channels on a cable system within a cable system, featuring exciting, informative, and educational programs. Meanwhile, the subscribers at home will just have to settle for the best in television programs and movies on the other 40 cable TV channels like HBO, Showtime, Cinemax, MTV, USA, CNN.
This has been a Space Cable production.